Everybody likes sex. It's a gas.
We're just not afraid to admit it.
You want burgers, hot dogs, some chicken, and ribs. Yeah! 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 Night of the Horror File.
So, how old is too old when you're watching porn?
How old is too old?
Yeah, like, is 95 too old?
I don't know. I think everybody should be allowed to watch some porno.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's
not what I'm
not
asking.
the underage, but I don't think there should be an age limit.
That's not what I'm asking. When you're watching porn,
Okay.
would you watch 95-year-olds fucking?
Oh, okay. I think out of pure curiosity, sure. I don't know if I'd ever go back to it, but I could see if I'm hitting 80, I'm like, I'm tired of all these young kids. Let me get in and look at some people my own age. And, yeah, like definitely there's a demographic for that. What is that fucking show? Granny Snatchers or what the fuck is Age Gap Lovers? There's a whole thing for it,
But I mean, like, how old are you going when you're watching porn? Like,
how old?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no age. Like, as long as you're over, as long as you're at least 22 and above,
yeah,
I'm down. I'm definitely down.
Is there a cap on your age limit? Like, are you going to actually enjoy watching a 60-year-old?
Well, I've had sex with a 60-year-old, or 59 to be exact.
Okay, true.
I don't know. I don't know. See, that's my own personal life, though. That's a whole personality thing. I don't know about porn, though. I don't usually just seek out older people.
That's what I mean.
But if I stumble across the video that catches my attention, sure,
right.
If it's something good, let's go for it. There's no maximum age for Leigh. It's whatever piques my interest.
I know that's
the problem.
I hate watching porn with you. I hate it. It's so annoying.
And I'll get to it in today's episode, but because porn has changed so much that I'm so super picky, How
can you be? Never mind.
We'll talk about it. But anyway. So welcome. No, this is not the porn cast. Welcome to Night of the Horror File, a horror movie and genre film podcast where I take a horror movie and genre film and show it to my beautiful wife, Brittany. And then she gives us her input. And because I don't know, I'm trying something new.
Okay. Okay.
I did kind of start sounding like a fucking game show announcer there for a minute.
Yes.
She comes on down on camera because it's porn. Anyway, no. Man, last week we did Ghostbusters and I think everybody really enjoyed that. So this week I was like, we got to do something, hardcore and gory and just a good time. And I think we got that because what did we watch this week?
X.
That's right. We watched X. Now, if you haven't seen X from the year 2022 by Ty West, definitely turn this fucking podcast off and go watch it because there's tons of spoilers coming at you. I really thought I didn't have to announce that for people, but I guess a lot of people don't assume that you're spoiling the movie. I thought,
I told you. I told you for a long
You're
time.
right. I just thought, I don't know. I just fucking thought that you would assume that. I don't know. That's just me though. But anyway,
you know what happens when you assume?
Make an ass out of Uma Thurman. Anyway, how many times am I gonna say it anyway? Anyway, horror fans. Another time.
Horror fans.
Oh, horror fans and us here at Night of the Horror File have been complaining for quite some time that horror is more or less nudity free and kind of sexless,
Right.
I mean, it kind of is. There's not a lot of people fucking in my horror movies anymore. I'm definitely using some colorful language today, apparently. But it really is. There's no random shower scenes in the nude. There's none of this anymore. Not that I have to have nudity in my horror movie for it to be good, but sometimes kind of nice. And today, Ty West said, "Hold my beer," and delivered X to us because this is a movie about making porn.
Oh, yeah.
And it's great. Now, Ty West is known for his ability to make original horror movies, but have them feel like a style out of a certain decade or a certain genre and stuff like that. He's creating original new genre films, which is something that a lot of people have a hard time, skirting that line.
Right.
With his film House of the Devil, he blended 80s satanic panic horror with like 70s folk horror to create this like really wonderful, rich film. And that's the thing. His last full horror feature was back in 2013 with The Sacrament, his input into the found footage horror subgenre, which it felt, again, kind of like a movie out of time. He makes these movies that feel like they could have come from any decade.
Oh, right.
So when it was announced in 2020 that he was returning and signed on with A24, I was pretty excited. The idea comes from West's observance of how horror was treated back in the day. Horror was basically put on the same level as hardcore pornography. I mean, you can go back and look at protests outside of stuff like Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, and see that people literally treated horror movies like fucking they were hardcore X-rated porn.
Right.
Even though they weren't.
Right. I feel like this is the most sex-filled movie I watched.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen something like with sex. Like it really has been. Anything.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen sex in a lot of movies. Like it's really weird. I don't know. We're heading to a prude society, which is kind of weird. Not today, though, you guys. We're not being prude on this podcast.
No,
that's not our bag. But anyway, he wanted to take the grindhouse exploitation slasher genre and do something more crafty with it. Also, this movie is a movie about making a movie. At its heart, even though it's a porn movie, it's still making a movie. But Ty does not go meta, which is very fucking refreshing. Like, because the idea to go fucking super meta with this was there, but he doesn't take that road, which I was very thankful.
I don't know what that means.
It's okay. Well, you haven't
I
really...
think we've talked about it before.
We kind of talked about it on our Scream episode, where the movie gets a little too into self-referential area.
Oh, yeah.
Even Scream wasn't too self-referential, but there are some movies that try to pull off that kind of shit that Scream did, and it gets a little like bad.
Right.
It's not good. But back in those days, pornographers were still trying to make like these porns as actual movies with plots and everything, just with more doing it.
Right.
So there was still a requirement to have someone run a camera and sync sound, and that's kind of where he went with this movie. Now, the look, though, of this thing, which everyone, of course, likens it to films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and other 70s drive-in classics, but Ty West is almost a magician when he does this, because when people try to homage or make a modern original horror movie that feels like it's from the 70s or 80s, they go way heavy-handed into the realm of gimmicks.
Right.
You see this a lot. People will start throwing all sorts of fucking film burns on their movies, or they'll put the VHS tracking thing.
I knew you were going to say that because I fucking hate that.
I hate it because I know I'm not watching a VHS. You're not really fooling me.
Right.
Because VHS, like the tracking thing, didn't stay on the entire tape the entire time. It usually went away after a little while, like because you're tracking it.
Right.
And I'll even accuse fucking Quentin Tarantino of doing that a little bit. Just a little bit. He does that. He gets a little too heavy-handed with it, and it gets a little annoying. Right. So with this film, which is set a year after Debbie Does Dallas, by the way, Ty West uses old light fixtures, no LED lighting, which is really cool. It's a really cool idea. He used like the old school way of lighting a movie, which was like these big lights with gel, these gel color things that you put over them.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Old school stuff. Because like when you do that, when you do an LED lighting, it kind of makes things look a little sharp.
Right.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with either way to do something. But when he does it with this, there's a little bit of unfocusing that happens in the picture.
I like that for the style that he's going for.
And he just does all this little subtle stuff to make this look aged.
Ugh.
What? You're noticing?
Oh, fuck me.
Brittany's been doing this show so long, she's noticing how movies look. Because this thing looks it looks as close as you can get to shooting on 16 millimeter.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Which was the idea. He really did want to shoot on 16 millimeter, but they shot this in New Zealand. And in order to shoot on celluloid film, he would have had to wait so long, like more than 2 weeks to get his dailies back, which that's a long time in movie time because, time is money. We've talked about this.
Right.
So he had to use a Sony Venice, which is my fucking dream camera, by the way, along with these cool little Hawk lenses that kind of made things look a little aged and stuff like this. Hawk lenses are a brand. Now, Brittany's like, please don't.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I understand now.
I get excited about these things. But they then used moving grain, which they shot from actual film and overlaid it over the footage he shot on digital. So, and it's just very subtle. That's the thing. Because like he said in his own words, he was like, when you watch the movie, you don't notice a damn thing.
Right.
He was like, but it's there and it makes it feel aged,
Because he saw it beforehand, so he knows.
I know how to do that overlay stuff with some film grain, and that is a time-consuming process because you have to apply it to each one of your fucking clips in your footage and stuff. So that is a time-consuming thing that he did. So just thinking about his editing style is probably because this thing is edited like a motherfucker. This is good.
Oh yeah,
this is some really good editing. But also it's like a 70s style editing as well. But anyway. The idea wasn't to make this a copy of something from the 16 millimeter days, but to knock off some of the modernization of digital, which, like you can definitely tell when things are shot on digital because when there's low light and stuff like that, there's a lot of noise pollution. So he kind of tweaked it to avoid that kind of stuff. But anyway,
the light affects the noise.
No,
you said there's a lot of noise pollution.
It's a term. It's like when you watch something that looks a little too grainy. That's noise. It's digital noise.
Okay. Sure. I don't know that I agree with you on that, but
I will show you something sometime because I'm shooting all on digital. I'll show you something sometime because it's something you have to fix with your lighting and stuff like that. But anyway, shot on location in New Zealand on a real farm. Which, by the way, like these two farmers that were there, they thought it was kind of silly that they were shooting a movie and stuff. But like they were like, after watching them for a while, they were like, man, that's some real work. You guys are working. But anyway, West had a secluded area to work with to avoid the COVID pandemic because this was shot during those times.
Right.
And this would come in handy when the idea for a prequel hit him. And more on that later at the end of our episode. But without further ado, let's dive into 2022's X.
So we start off with some police officers going to check out an old farmhouse. And this is where Leigh is cut up into little slimy. That's not what I'm going to say.
Ew, why am I slimy?
I didn't mean to say that. Little tiny like steak slices. Not tiny, but like steak, right? That's tiny for a human, right?
Okay, I get you.
And the cannibals are going to eat him because he said that he was vegan and they didn't like that.
Yes, if some of you haven't heard, I've been attempting to transfer to veganism. It's very hard. It's very hard. Mostly for my heart is the reason I'm doing it. It's not because I have morals or anything like that. Don't worry. Don't worry. Leigh has no morals. So don't worry about that. Now, anyway, the title X is, of course, a play on the X rating. That was, porn.
Really?
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody fucking knows that. I don't really have to spell that out.
No.
But I do wonder if a lot of people know that the X rating wasn't always associated with porn. See, the X rating was a rating that the MPAA used from 1968 to 1990. It was to represent a film that couldn't be viewed by anyone under 16. That was the original intent. Wow. Now, the idea behind that X rating was that unlike the other ratings, like your PGs and your Gs and all that shit, X wasn't trademarked. And so if you shot a movie, a horror movie most of the times, and couldn't submit it to the MPAA, couldn't afford that. Like, first of all, because I think that it costs.
Right.
And even then, you might get it rejected. It's a whole thing. Well, then you could release it with an X rating. You could just slap an X rating on there and you're good to go.
Right.
And now, there were a few.
Now you better not get an X rating.
A few movies that did this at the time, like A Clockwork Orange was rated X when it first came out. Sweetback's Badass Song by Melvin Van Peebles was released with an X rating as well. Now, the problem came when porn filmmakers took notice of this and were able to release their movies in theaters. Usually porn theaters, so like no little kids wandered in or anything like that. Right. They weren't being malicious. They just figured out a way to get their porno out into a theater, for mass audiences.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So regular theaters stopped allowing you to put your movie about an axe killer with tons of gore in their theater with an X rating because X started being associated with porn. Right. This led to movies being censored by the MPAA and forced to carry an R rating, which we've talked about the rating policy back in our PG-13 episode. Go check that out. Now, in 1990, the MPAA discontinued the X rating and created the NC-17 label. Now, this was trademarked, so you couldn't just slap an NC-17 rating on your movie. This wasn't good either because theaters stopped showing NC-17 movies as well, which led to more censorship. Censorship upon censorship of our movies is what we look at.
Stop doing that.
Exactly. Porn and horror have always been kind of cousins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because horror may have been a step above porn in some people's minds, but they both have always been like an outsider just kind of getting shat on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very pro-porn.
Right.
Ethically sourced porn.
Ethically sourced. Yes.
I've been getting a little, that's another reason why I'm kind of picky, like with my porno.
Oh my God.
You gotta watch it out there. I'm starting to think that some of these tube sites are a little, not on the up sketchy, and up. It's a little sketchy. I mean, Pornhub has done stuff to curb that, but who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't want to watch a porno with someone in it that doesn't know they're in a porno.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want that.
No.
So that's why I say ethically sourced porn.
Right.
Have you ever watched a porn with a plot?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Like, I love those. Those are like my favorite type of pornos.
Do I want to do that? Not really.
Want to do that?
Do I want to? Do I prefer that? Not really.
I think I kind of do lately. I don't. I don't even watch it. Like, Brittany doesn't know her porn.
I don't watch it. No.
We'll get into it later. I have a whole segment for you guys coming up.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't even watch it. Like, I'm just listening to it. So if there's a story,
you're an audio person.
Because if there's a story in between, like, that just ruins everything.
Which I find fascinating because some people are more geared towards the audio, like the moans and stuff like that. More people get off from the audio, which is crazy. I never knew that before I met you. I thought, you watch a porn, you're watching it.
Well, here's my thing on it. I'll go into my little spiel. Is like, obviously, if I'm masturbating and watching porn, obviously nobody's touching me except for me. By the way,
if this is your first episode, we are very sex positive and porn positive.
Right.
So if this is very shocking to you, that's why.
But obviously when I'm masturbating, like, nobody's touching me except for me. So I don't like fantasize about someone touching me or anything like that. I'm doing it. It's me. So, but I want to hear the noises because I like the noises of sex. I always have. And so listening to the people get off, like,
that's your thing. That's cool.
Gets me off. Yeah. Is like, because if it's quiet, I cannot masturbate if it's quiet.
Quiet sex
because
is weird.
Then I hear things.
I think that's Mormon sex. It's very quiet unless you got your friend jumping up on the bed while you're soaking.
Oh, God.
That's disgusting. Ugh. Why is that the most disgusting thing I've ever heard? Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the movie.
Okay. So we start off with these police officers going to check out this old farmhouse. There's blood everywhere and a dead body just laying in the front yard and dead bodies in the house, just fucking dead bodies everywhere.
I love how he starts this scene out too, because you're in the barn, right? And like it starts out and it kind of looks like an old film cell that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then the camera starts to move. That's such a fucking genius way to open your film.
So then the officers go down to like this basement or whatever and they find something horrifying, but we don't get to see what that is. So now we're with Maxine and she does this fat line of coke.
The good old days when you could do coke and not have to worry about fentanyl.
Right, right. And her boyfriend Wayne comes in and tells her that she is special and that no one is like her, but she needs to hurry up because time is money. And she tells herself that she is a sex symbol. Like she's motivating
she's gonna
herself.
Be a star.
Right.
Which I love Maxine's character because now the best choices was to have Mia Goth play Maxine, play both Maxine and Pearl. And we'll talk about that later on because that duality of these two characters is really fucking fascinating. And it really puts a whole new spin on this like grindhouse exploitation thing that he's going for in this movie.
Right. I have a whole thing about them.
Yeah. It's really good. And now it's done seamlessly too. And we'll talk about Pearl later. But now for those of you like myself who have seen Goth in Suspiria, the remake, Emma and A Cure for Wellness, which I stand by as being a good movie, even though a lot of people hate on it, she's like a next level talent, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's really fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
And what's great about the way she plays Maxine is that all these characters, that we're about to meet, that are rolling out to make this movie, they all have their, their own goals or reasons for what they're doing and why they do it, making porn. But the one that takes it super seriously above everyone else is Maxine.
Right. She's going to be a star.
Yeah.
So Maxine, Wayne, and the other crew is what I'm calling them.
We'll meet them in a minute.
Film crew,
yeah,
right?
We'll really get into them in a little bit.
They head out in a van, and they're going over the screenplay for their porn. Maxine wants to be famous so bad.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a scene they stop at a gas station. Like, I didn't go into detail about that.
There's
that
always a televangelist on the TV in every.
You're just gonna tell what I was about to say. Anyway, in every scene that you see a TV or radio station, there are people talking about sex and religion and how everyone needs Jesus. And it's the same dude.
The morally corrupt of all this, and yeah.
Right. And the whole movie, I don't go into it a whole lot, but Maxine keeps saying to herself that she's going to be famous. She's a star. There's something special. Oh, and Wayne keeps telling her that there's something special about her. She's different, great, whatever. This comes into play later.
Yeah.
So the crew ends up driving to a house, and when Wayne comes up to the door, the man says that he's trespassing, and he pulls a fucking rifle on him.
What I loved earlier on when they're in the van and they're passing out the screenplay is that's a real thing that, like a lot of people don't think about porn as something that someone wrote.
Right.
Which it was back in those days. Someone sat down at a computer and wrote a screenplay for a porno.
Right. We're going to do this and this and this and this. Yes.
Yeah. It's fascinating. There's a lot of work put into those movies.
Right. They're movies.
They are.
Right. So then Wayne explains to this old man that they're there to stay at the boarding house, like they had talked about over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And the man's like, oh, okay.
Oh, this old fucker. God damn.
He's ugly as fuck.
The makeup they have on Stephen Uri is fucking scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he looks like he's like a few minutes away from being Grandpa from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, you're almost like, is this a prequel? Like,
right.
What are we, whoa.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Get Grandpa!
So when when they're unloading the van, Maxine sees someone in the window watching them all creepy, like, and I couldn't tell if it was the man or the woman. It's the woman. It's Pearl. And then when they go into this cabin that they're staying in, the old man just is like staring at the girls.
Yeah, he's like staring them down.
And Wayne's like, well, he said something. I don't remember what he said.
Hey,
yeah,
watch how you're looking at that's my future fiance.
Right.
I love Wayne.
Yes.
You know what he fucking does in this movie, Ty West, is he makes you care about these characters, which is something a lot of slashers that come out now don't do.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, thank you. Because like, well, I watched a movie called They Them. Now, I'm not going to hate on it too much.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to hate on too much because I always give movies 2 more times before I firmly decide if it's like fucking awful. But it was bad the first time around for me. It was a terrible movie because, and it wasn't because it was about gay people. Fuck, I'm queer myself. But like, it was more it didn't make me give a fuck about any of those characters.
Right.
So by the end of it, I'm like, I hope everyone fucking dies. And that's bad because you don't give me that by the end of the movie. So
that's right. Yeah.
So I am completely just like, you've lost me.
Yeah.
And what Ty West does here really, really awesomely is like he really builds these characters up. So like when they die, you're kind of like, oh man. And it's more effective that way. It's more scary, because you're not watching a scene where like someone's about to, someone's going to get killed. You know how that fucking formula works. So when you see somebody wander into a barn alone looking for somebody, he's going to get murdered. But at the same time, because you kind of care about this fucking character, there's tension.
No.
Yeah, there's fucking tension there, which is required to scare someone.
Right.
Now, you also got a really good cast to work with here, by the way. That also is making you care about these characters.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Uri, like I mentioned, it's Howard. Brittany Snow from those Pitch Perfect movies. Jenna Ortega, who just came off of filming the 5th Scream movie. Isn't that awesome?
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
She had a fucking time. Now, Martin Henderson, who I've always enjoyed, he's kind of underrated. He's a very underrated actor. He was in this really fucking god-awful movie, Torque, which I still kind of have fun with. It's like a motorcycle movie. It's like Fast and the Furious with motorcycles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Fly Boys, and of course, 2002's The Ring. As Noah, which I'm sure more people know him from The Ring.
Right.
And then Scott Mescudi. Kid Cudi. Sorry, you guys. I know him more as Kid Cudi. Who, like I said, and now I've heard his music, but I've only seen him act in one thing, and that was an episode of Creepshow on Shudder. But dude, this guy commands a fucking screen.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I want to see him in more movies.
I want to see the porn.
Yeah, well.
I mean, we saw the porn, but like.
I know, right?
I want to see.
We want to kind of see that. Anyway. But no, I really do think I really liked him in this fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
He was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't know he was this good of an actor.
Me either. I didn't even know who it was. Like, I've heard of Kid Cudi. I've heard his music, but like to pick him out of a lineup, I wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Like, his
well,
face
I didn't realize who that was, Kid Cudi, because like I was like, who is that? And then I realized, oh no, I've been listening to his music for a while. I just didn't know his name.
Yeah. You were like, who is this? And I was like, oh, you'll know.
And I looked it up on Spotify. I was like, oh, I like this song. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So the crew quickly gets to work making their porn. RJ is the film guy. What do you call them?
This is a cameraman.
The cameraman. There you
he's
go.
Rolling the camera.
Right. He's trying to make this very cinematic.
Oh yeah, he really cares about making this stuff cinematic.
Yeah. And Maxine decides to go for a swim in this pond, and we get to see this overhead shot of something swimming towards her. I didn't realize it was an alligator until you told me. And you think it's going to bite her, but she jumps out of the water just before it does. And I fucking love when movies do this, okay? So she's swimming, she's getting out of the water, and right as she's getting out, you hear 1, 2, and then it cuts to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is someone saying 1, 2, or like action, whatever, like 1, 2, 3 action. And I fucking love that.
You do love those things.
I like a good transition. Yeah. I don't know. It just like it because I feel like I'm about to be jump scared.
Right.
And then I'm not.
I love this overhead shot of this alligator and her swimming. That's great. More tension. That's what I mean. Like, I'm like, oh.
Yes. And you can't. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell what the fuck it was because it looks so big.
Yeah, it's a big fucking alligator, which it definitely reminded me of movies like Eaten Alive, which is an old Toby Hooper movie, where this guy has an alligator that kills people and stuff. You can definitely see some of the influences from other films.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but again, he doesn't go into gimmicks,
Right.
Like nobody's pulling up a chainsaw as a joke or anything like that,
Right.
Even though this movie feels like a spiritual sequel to fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre but it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
I expected when I saw the farmhouse, I really expected like to see some girl in tight shorts walking up to the house.
Like he doesn't do that. He doesn't. No. Yeah, he doesn't like recreate the shot of that little dolly shot of him panning up to her ass, like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He doesn't do that.
Right.
But it still feels that way. And I feel like I like that kind of homage better because it doesn't take me out of your movie and make me think of another movie.
Right.
You know, that's a little rough, you know?
Right. So, Maxine gets out of the water and then she goes to the old people's house, Pearl and Howard. She just fucking goes inside.
Yeah.
And just walking around.
I don't know.
No, I'm good. After seeing him, nope.
And already we're getting so much nudity. Like we didn't touch on it yet, but there was nudity everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, she was naked in the pond. We're watching them fuck.
Yeah, we see Brittany Snow naked. It's all I'm like, nudity in a movie.
Yes.
Look at this, you guys.
Yes.
People were like, you know what was weird about the people talking about this movie, which this movie had, I never really saw a bad complaint about this movie, which is great because because I want to see more of this. But like people were talking about the sex scenes being super intense. I watched it? Am I corrupted? Because this felt pretty on par with some of the stuff I've watched in the past and stuff like this, like a horror movie with sex. I don't know. This feels about right.
I haven't seen a whole lot of horror movies, obviously, but the sex scenes are a little long.
Oh, okay. I agree.
But they had a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, they're making a porn.
Right. And also, like, later on, we see things and stuff like that. Like, it has a purpose to be so long.
Right. I mean, and that's the problem with some things that try to put more, which God bless them. They're trying their best. I'm from the South, you guys. Sorry, but they're trying their best. They're trying to do what I said by injecting a little bit more sexuality into their movies, but half the time they don't feel deployed right. Like there's those scenes where sex is just popping in, and I know this is about them making a porno, so why wouldn't there be sex scenes? But they feel like they fit. The editing's really good. But
that's what I'm saying is like they have a purpose. They're not having sex just to have sex. And I know that's because they're filming a porno, but like the movie, they're not
so
just
hard
having
to
sex
explain
just
what
to
we're
have
talking
sex.
about. Because if you watch a movie where it's just like a random sex scene.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's edited bad and it feels like it doesn't belong in the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you just did this to show some tits, which great. Everybody loves boobs, but like there's a way to get these in your movie, and Ty West really achieves it here.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys didn't know, if you haven't guessed by now, I'm somewhat of a fan of old school porn. Especially the decade of the 70s when they really did try to make these not just skin flicks, but movies with a plot, man. Some of these movies are very fucking entertaining, but just dicks are constantly going into vaginas in these. That's the difference between these movies and regular movies, and more boobs. Check out some of the gay porn from the 1970s, by the way.
If you want to,
if you're into that, but anyway, I'll talk about the gay porn in a little bit, but yes, the unsung perverts of the 1970s really risked their own money most of the time, their reputation, and yes, their freedom. I mean, some places it was illegal to shoot this kind of shit. You would get arrested. Porn theaters were constantly getting raided and shit like that. And and they put out some really high quality porno, like Behind the Green Door with Marilyn Chambers, which broke new ground as to how porn could be accepted to the mainstream. No one was thinking, porn was for, everyday people. Porn was for the low quality people in the world.
The perverts.
The perverts and the predators. They go to the porn theaters to masturbate. I don't know why I had an accent there. But no, these folks weren't just getting people horny and pointing cameras at them. These things had writers, producers, actors, sound people, grips, fucking PAs, musicians, the whole thing. So I thought, since a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are afraid to talk about porn, especially now, which is weird because you think we'd be going forward, not backwards, because it feels like we're back in the 50s.
Right.
So I thought I'd compile a list of 10 porn films from the 1970s that you pervs have to see. I think it's Leigh's must-see porn. Not my own. Not my own. I didn't make a porn. Y'all ain't got to see that. Don't worry. They're professional actors. Of course, Deep Throat. At number 10. How could you do a porn list from the 70s and leave off Deep Throat?
I don't know. That's a great one.
Linda
right?
Lovelace. What's a girl got to do to untangle her tingle? It's amazing, because they find her clitoris is in her throat.
Oh, okay.
Deep Throat. That's the gimmick.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you uncomfortable yet? Is everybody nice and uncomfortable?
I'm not.
It feels like people are these days. It's really weird.
We can talk about porn. Sex.
Every human being likes to watch people fuck. I'm sorry. It's just they do. And if someone tells you they don't, they're fucking lying to you.
It's true.
Now, number 9 is The Devil in Miss Jones. Now, The Devil in Miss Jones.
Not and.
Yeah, and Miss Jones. No, Devil in Miss Jones, which was Gerard Damiano's follow-up to Deep Throat. And it's the first critically acclaimed adult film. That's right. Roger Ebert said it was the best adult movie he's ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, number 8, French Blue. Now, this was the first porn to be shown at the Cannes motherfucking Film Festival. That's right. Porn was shown at Cannes at one point. Of course, Last Brawn had to sneak it in, but it was there. Now, number 7, 3 a.m. Now, I always suggest 3 a.m. for one reason. See, director Robert McCollum was working on this film, and Orson Welles required him to help out with another project called The Other Side of the Wind. So Orson Welles, Citizen Kane, Orson Welles himself edited the shower scene in 3 a.m. just to hurry production along. So you can watch a porn that has a scene edited by the Orson Welles. I assume he was probably drunk. Now, okay, number 6. Now, you know how I'm a fan of French cinema, right?
Yes.
Well, then you guys have to check out 1975's Pussy Talk. That's right. It's comedy. Yes, porn has subgenres, or it did at one point. I don't know if it does anymore. Everybody's obsessed with clips. Everybody's right. Obsessed with compilations. Give me a plot in there.
No.
In this movie, the title refers to, you guessed it, a pussy that can talk. Anyway.
Nice.
Number 5, Farmer's Daughters. Yes, the porn in this movie shares the same title of a real porn, which was indeed, it was another indie movie. It's something people in the porn industry call a roughie, because it's got some rough sex in it, like some little S&M and stuff like that. And a little stuff that I don't know. It's not my favorite, but I do think you should see it. Anyway.
That makes me want to see it.
It's it's kind of freaky. Anyway, also the movie had Spalding Gray, in it, who's very famous now. Now, number 4, well, famous for me. I don't know if anybody knows Spalding Gray. Now, number 4, Debbie Does Dallas. Yes, because how the hell can I leave that off? You got it. Debbie Does Dallas. It's the porn that everybody talks about.
Right.
Even if they haven't seen it. I'm sure you've heard that title at some point. Anyway, now number 3, Naked Came the Stranger. Okay, this one is a little odd. It was based off of a book from 1969 by the same name, which was written by 24 journalists whose goal was to write the worst book ever, but pack it full of sex to prove that American literary culture had become mindlessly vulgar. So it was all done as a hoax, but then they turned it into a porn film.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's good shit. Now, number 2, Emmanuel. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about this a lot. Now, it's a softcore French porn film, and light on the sex and stuff like that. Good plot, but still very good. You got to see it. Now, that's Emmanuel with 2 L's. There's an American version that isn't very good.
Okay.
And number 1, Italian Stallion.
Oh my God.
Okay, so the rumors are true, by the way, because this was a part of internet lore that nobody knew if it really existed or not, but it did. Rocky himself was in a porno.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. Sylvester Stallone was in a porn. Now, this was originally shot in 1969 under the title Party at Kitty and Studs. Actually, Sly's mom convinced him to take the role, which is really creepy to me. But anyway, It's a terrible fucking movie, but hilarious nonetheless, with Sly's dog flopping in the wind through scenes like a drug-induced version of Ring Around the Rosie.
Okay. That does not entice me to watch that.
No, you don't want to see Sly naked. Sylvester Stallone's
Not if he's doing
penis.
Ring Around the Rosie.
It's not that impressive.
Okay.
I know everybody's like, oh my God, I bet his schlong is like huge. About average.
Most of the time, people's dicks are going to be average.
Not that Sly ever fucking bragged about a huge dong or anything, you know? It's all good.
So why did you think it was going to be big?
I don't know. I just assumed.
You know what
there's
happens
a reason
when
why I watched so much manly sweat back in the fucking day. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, back on the gay porn, though. There was gay porn in the 70s. Less talked about, though. So there's a few movies I'd like you guys to see because I think they're fucking fascinating. If you're into gay porn. Again, you got to be into gay porn to really like that. Well, I don't know. Maybe you will enjoy it just for its artistic merits. But there's a movie called Selma and Her Boys. Now, this is like a documentary almost. It documents hookup culture on Selma Boulevard, which was a large area in West Mississippi, where so basically guys who would be coming through the Midwest, pun intended, through the Midwest to reach Hollywood, because everybody did a big transfer to Hollywood. Right. Well, they would get kind of stranded there because there was no jobs and stuff. And so to make money, they would basically prostitute on Selma Boulevard.
Oh, wow.
And this kind of documents it and follows people and they reenact what they did with people. And sometimes you see real hookups and stuff. It's a very fascinating fucking movie.
Wow.
That's what I mean about 70s porn. It's not what you get nowadays. Like I said, everybody's obsessed with clip shows. Now another one is The Destroying Angel from 1976. Now, this one is real fucking unique and out there. It was actually inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, like a few of his stories. I know. It's so funny because I went from Debbie Does Dallas and now I'm talking about gay porn, which seems like it might be more artistic. They were really, really going for something. Because this movie is directed by Peter Jerome and it's a very artistic movie that kind of crosses the border from just hard cocks and fucking to art. It's really cool. I don't know how else to explain it, but there's supernatural sex and trippy weird images and shit like that in it. It's really cool. Now I'm not a lesbian, so I never really dabbled into that area very much aside from newer stuff like 2015's The Turning. Pretty good. Check that out if you're ever interested.
Okay.
It's so funny because I'm sure people are like, Jesus, he must jerk off a lot. It's no, you can literally just watch these. You don't have to masturbate. I don't know. I don't know what that says about me, but I would literally sit down and watch one of these movies and not jerk off. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say, you guys. I don't know what to say about myself. But anyway, there is some really awesome stuff out there at the classic porns. And if you just want to dive into some of these, there are sites that are kind of like the Netflix of porn, sort of,
Oh,
There's a site called hotmovies.com, which I'm not getting paid to say this, but you can go to these places and you can stream all these that I've talked about there. You can rent them and you can buy them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you could go there, pay $10 and watch Debbie Does Dallas, because some of these are really hard to find on DVD.
Yeah, because they're older.
Yeah, these are really hard to find. And when they do get released on DVD, there's a very limited number printed. So it's not easy to find these old school pornos, I mean, I'm sure you could probably find it for free on the internet somewhere, but ethically sourced, you guys.
But here's where to go,
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I just find the older porn. I'm not watching really new porn movies because it's just not the same. I don't know. There's not a lot of care in those newer ones. There was a lot of care back in the day.
Right.
People, you could tell someone was trying to really make a movie. Maybe they couldn't really make it in Hollywood and porn was their first stop, maybe, because Wes Craven directed a few porn films.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So maybe it's that, but you can definitely tell people they really cared. There's like really good camera work.
Hold on, let me get this shot.
Don't come yet. God damn it. Now we're going to have to wait like an hour because Frank fell asleep. But anyway, let's get back to the movie at hand. I'm sorry, you guys. That was like a long spiel about porno.
So I love how we cut in and out from porn to actual movie. I don't need to describe the porn that they're
you're
filming.
good. I mean, what are you going to do? She's on top. She's riding.
Right.
She's going up and down. There's moaning.
Oh my gosh.
How you really fucking explain a sex scene?
They're fucking. Okay.
Yeah, there's sex galore. You get to see boobies and all sorts of things.
So Maxine is now having a glass of lemonade with the old lady named Pearl. She chugs it down because she's a little uncomfortable. She wants to leave. And Pearl stops at a picture on the way to the door and talks about the past and how she used to be a dancer and all this stuff. But then she ends up getting really close to Maxine and like touches her side.
It's really weird.
Maxine's freaked out. Then Harold shows up and Pearl tells her to leave and that this will be their secret. And she shushes her. She's like, shh. Well, Maxine goes back to the cabin and she has to snort some coke.
Some of that pure white.
Right.
Back in the 70s. No fentanyl. No fentanyl in there. Maybe some baking soda, but no fentanyl.
Right.
but okay, so what I like about Pearl's character is, and he didn't have to fucking write this character this way.
Right.
Or Maxine. Which, did you know that Mia Goth, could you tell that Mia Goth was playing both?
No.
They do this wonderfully. The way it's shot and stuff, you can't tell.
Right.
And she does a fantastic job playing dual roles here. But what I like about the duality of these two characters is that Pearl's getting older. She's old. Yeah. She's on her way out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's over for her.
Yeah.
She didn't get to achieve. You can tell that she didn't get to achieve probably what she didn't want to, or what she wanted to, you know, be famous and stuff like that. And so for Mia Goth, she's entering that area. She's on her way, maybe. You know, like, you know, she might be going forward and stuff like that. She has the same ambitions that Pearl did when she was younger. And you can tell Pearl is kind of jealous of that and wants that back. Which I love that. You did not have to put that kind of like underlining story in your fucking slasher movie. Right. You didn't have to do that, but he does. And he does it in such a crafty way.
And I'm very appreciative of it.
Yeah, it makes a good story. Yeah. You know, it's not, this movie is a slasher and it's very bare bones, but it is a good movie too.
Yes. Yes. And you can tell early on about Pearl being jealous of Maxine and stuff. And I feel like if you would have never told me that this actress played the old lady, I wouldn't know. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I almost feel like, and I'll say it now because there's more to it once we go further, but I almost feel like that Maxine was Pearl in like a different timeline and they just like cross paths.
That's interesting.
Like the timelines cross.
Yeah, paths. I think that's what he wants you to feel, even though that's not really the case.
Right.
But that is the kind of feeling you get, that these two characters are very much alike.
I was thinking they were like the same person.
Oh, I understand.
And now Pearl is Maxine in a younger life. Right. And she's getting to experience the things that Pearl wanted to do when she was younger. Right. And so she's doing it right now. Like Maxine is doing it the way that Pearl wanted it. Like, but they're the same person.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, you see what I'm saying?
And even if they really aren't the same person, like the timeline thing you're thinking of, that's still what is happening.
Right,
here.
exactly.
It's still metaphorically what's happening here. Because also this movie's about getting older too. Like there's a lot of themes of that, you know, just losing your youth and stuff, and the way like older people look at some younger people, you know, like, with this jealousy and kind of this seething hatred.
And they only hate the younger people because the younger people are doing what they wanted to do, what those older people wanted to do.
Right. Because even later on, Wayne says something about, you know, like we might as well, or somebody says something about we might as well do this kind of stuff when we're young and we can't. You know, because that's one of the things, you know, time is fleeting. You know, we're all going to get too old to fuck one day. It's just going to fucking happen. We're just going to get too old to get it up. Well, basically me. I think you'll be fine. But, you know, it's going to happen. You know, so why don't you enjoy it when you can? You know, and it kind of feels like Pearl maybe didn't get to do that. Yeah,
it's kind of like a use it or lose it kind of thing.
Yeah, and now, you know, everything's too old. Howard can't have sex with her and stuff like that. And I think that's what gives this movie an even better twist is because you do kind of feel sympathetic for these old people.
Right.
Like there are times where you're like, shit, that sucks.
Yeah, like, definitely.
So all the characters you actually like, and they have, it's beefy, you know, it's beefy characters here in your slasher movie. That's exploitation at the same time.
It's great.
Yeah. Which is typically not how that goes.
I feel like this is a ADHD like dream movie.
Oh, totally.
There's always
there's so many little things here and there. And he does this in all his movies, you know, because even like, you know, like movies like The Innkeepers and well, even his Western he did with John Travolta and Ethan Hawke. That's a fucking amazing movie too.
Oh yeah.
It's just the same. And it's using that format of old school movies, but creating a good original story within it. And that's what I like about his work.
I know. I liked that too a lot. So anyway, so they all go to the barn and they start filming there. Pearl is watching them and she is imagining herself as Maxine.
It's creepy.
And that furthered it for me that they are the same person.
I understand. Yeah. How you
know, like, that's what I'm feeling here. But she goes back home and she wants to fuck Howard. And he says that he can't because of his heart. He's afraid he's going to have a heart attack.
Which sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
And I think Wayne pointed it out when they first arrive. You know, he was like, oh, he probably doesn't mean any harm. He probably just can't get it up no more. It's
right. And it's true. I mean,
it's depressing. Yeah.
Well, he's afraid of his heart. Mm-hmm. And I guess that is the reality of life. Like,
and that's the thing. And like, you can tell these two care for each other in some way. I mean, he's not beating her or anything like that. Like they very much were in love and probably still are, but there's that one thing missing, which kind of sucks.
Right.
You know? It's one thing I think a lot of us take for granted. You know, we sit around and kind of, you know, we don't think about that there's going to be one day when we can't get fully intimate with somebody.
And I've thought about that a lot. And you know why I've thought about this? I'm going to tell a story.
Oh shit.
Sorry.
We're telling stories.
So
I just went on a spiel about 70s porn, so I think you're allowed.
Okay. So when I was married to my ex-husband, his grandpa died when our son was little. And shortly after that, his grandma went to go live in like an assisted living, not a nursing home, an assisted living like apartment complex thing. She had her own apartment. It looked more like a hotel. And while she was there, she met a man. He was German and he barely spoke English. And she was like in her late 70s, early 80s, bad health kind of. Well, like, not great health, but she could kind of take care of herself. And then he was like 93.
Ooh,
he was a few years older than her. Okay. And they decided to get married. And we got to be there for their little wedding or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So Grandma Hudson, oh my God. We're there one day because we would go and like clean up her apartment, take her trash out, stuff like that. Because you had to do that. Like they didn't come in and do that for them because it's just assisted living. And she said, we're there visiting one day. She says, do you think I can have sex?
Oh.
Grandma, sure. I mean, if that's what you want to do. She was like, but I need to know a good position that's not going to hurt my hip.
It's like, Grandma, they got websites for that.
Grandma, I don't know what to tell you. how far can you bend over? So there we are in grandma's bedroom with her little medical bed, whatever it is, showing her kind of how to bend over on the bed
fucking
to have sex. Because her and her husband were married for however many a lot of fucking years, right? Before he died. They still slept in separate beds.
Wow. That's wild. Because
they always did.
You know, like, I know some people are like, it's just sex, but still, like, it's kind of an important part of being a human.
Right.
You know, like, as long as you're not prude and think, you know, you should only have sex for procreation, because, like, you're missing out on a lot of stuff if that's the way you think.
Right. And I don't know if they had sex. I know in the later years they didn't, because Howard was in a lot of health issues for a long, like, as long as I knew him before he died.
His name was Howard too?
Yes.
Whoa, weird.
Yeah. Josh's grandpa, his name was Howard. Yeah. Howard Hudson. And he was in ill health the whole time I knew him before he died. And so I know that they weren't having sex. In their younger days, were they? I don't know. We didn't talk about that. Yeah. Like, that was something that was, like, really forbidden for her to talk about. So for her to ask that, it was like, what the fuck? But that man and her, they did try to have sex. And she ended up hurting her knee. Oh. And they didn't have sex again. And not even 2 months later, he died.
No, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
See, and what's cool about these characters in this movie is, again, back on the thing where you do feel for him a little bit, is because even Howard has his own motivations for what's about to happen. Because, like, one of the very few complaints I heard about this movie is that somebody was complaining that the old people are murdering indiscriminately.
No.
Like, there's no motive. I was like, there's plenty of motive there. Like, there's tons of motive. Like, Howard has a problem because here are all these guys who can get boners, who can fuck till the sun comes up. And here he is. It's all wasted away. He can't do anything because he might fucking die.
Right.
And there they are. Like, and he assumes, like, you're fucking trying to get my wife and shit like that. Here's these guys in their prime who can give her what she wants.
And you know what's so sweet about it is he's not seeing her age in the situation. He's seeing his age, because he thinks that these younger dudes want this old lady and they don't.
Yeah.
But he's seeing her as the young her. And I love that.
Ty West, everybody.
Yeah. I love that. It is actually really romantic.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
he's jealous.
You care about who these characters are, and for there a prequel to be coming out, you have to.
Right.
Because if you didn't give a shit and they were just murdering indiscriminately, what's the fuck the point of a prequel?
Right.
You know, because now, you know, when you do watch this movie, before I even thought that there was a prequel coming, I didn't know.
Right.
But when you watch this movie, you're like, I really want to know what happened. I want to know her life. Like, because you can tell she led some kind of weird life.
Right.
Something happened. Like, and you want to know what the fuck.
And he loves her. And she loves him. She does love him. She just wants to have sex.
Yeah, which, again, like, it's a thing.
Right.
Sex is a thing.
I've had my own issues with that. Anyway. So it's nighttime now, and the crew's all hanging out, and they're talking about sex and love. The difference between like doing porn and being in love, because Lorraine, she doesn't quite understand. Lorraine is RJ's girlfriend.
Yeah, and they keep calling her church mouse, which is great. They have that whole conversation about panties earlier. You know?
Yes. And she just doesn't believe in sleeping around. She wants to be in love. And they're like, no, we're young and we're making a movie. It's not about love.
Yeah,
it's
business.
about, yeah.
And what I love about the way these characters are, because when you consider pornographers, porn actors and stuff like that, a lot of us are really, it's ingrained in us, mostly here in the South, ingrained in us that those are bad people.
Right.
Those are nasty people you don't want to associate with. They're fucked up and stuff like this. But this movie shows them in a different light than what Ty West could have went with these kind of characters.
Right.
You know, like they're just like everything they say is really sex positive and really shines a kind of a nice positive light on the whole situation that they're doing here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because Wayne and Maxine are an item, and you think like, oh, he's just with her for this, you know, to do the movie and shit like that. But it's not quite like that. It's interesting.
No, they love each other.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. I don't know. Their relationship is just weird.
It is a little weird.
But
like,
not in a bad way.
No, it seems like they got their own thing.
Right.
Like they figured out something.
Right. But I think Bobby, Brittany Snow, Bobby's character, and Jackson.
Do you recognize Brittany Snow in this movie? Because she has blonde hair in this.
Yeah, it took me a minute. But yeah. I think they're dating also. And their relationship obviously is very sex positive too, because they're all having sex.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson is the main dude in it. I don't think Wayne was in it at all.
No, he's just a director. Like basically they're shooting this movie called Farmer's Daughter, and Kid Cudi's character is Jackson. He's the one that arrives to this farm and starts fucking all the daughters. You know? Right.
Anyway, so they're talking about love versus sex and being in love and having sex and all this. Anyway, Lorraine ends up saying that she likes what she saw and she doesn't know if she believes in it. But she likes it. So they start playing and singing Landslide.
Which I don't know, you guys. This is probably my favorite song of all time. So they start playing it. I was like, cool. But then it's juxtaposed with like the split screen of Pearl.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. We get this cool split screen between all the people in the room and Pearl. And she's like laying in bed. She's crying.
It's a sad scene. And you didn't have to have this with your creepy old lady.
No.
Like, again, this is a very big choice for a character.
But you feel bad for her.
You do. Because she's like sitting there looking at herself in the mirror. She's looking at makeup and like brushing her hair. And the beauty's gone.
Right.
You know, it's all faded.
Right. But she still wants something more out of life. And it's just...
Yeah, she may be fucked up, but there's a human there.
Right.
It's kind of nice.
Right.
It's kind of cool to humanize your killers, you know? Like humanize them a little bit, just a little fucking bit. And you never think that you really want that until you watch a movie like this.
Right.
And you're like, wow, this feels genuine.
And for some reason, I don't know why, I really appreciated though that Brittany Snow was the one singing and that Kid Cudi was the one playing the guitar and him not singing. Because
yeah, I see what you mean.
I actually don't think I've ever heard a dude sing that song.
One time, and that was Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Billy Corgan cannot sing.
They did a cover.
Yeah, he can sing. He can sing alternative music.
Right.
He cannot sing Landslide.
So who's the original?
That's Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
That's Fleetwood Mac. Landslide comes from that. I have that record on. Vinyl is the way to listen to that song too. Holy shit, man.
Oh yeah. I didn't know because I always heard the Chicks. It's not the Dixie Chicks anymore.
Oh yeah, the Chicks.
The Chicks, and then TLC.
Oh yeah.
I had to think about that for a second.
TLC did a cover.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew the Chicks did the cover, but I didn't know TLC did.
Wait. No, I'm thinking of a different song. I totally lied.
Oh, okay. I was very interested. I was like, wow.
Take that out of... I retract that statement.
It's okay.
That's a different song. I don't know what I was thinking.
But excellent use of fucking split screen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, I love fucking split screen when they use this. And the only time, nobody likes to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, it's faux pas nowadays, you know, it's a little goofy, but the way he does it here, it's not. It's very artistic. It's very well done.
Yeah.
Because there's parts that like the one side of the screen switches to them singing, but then it switches to Pearl. So you're still in a split screen, but you're seeing Pearl all there. And then like it switches back. It's really, really well deployed.
It's great. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, sorry. Then Lorraine says that she wants to be in the movie and RJ tells her no. That they can't just change the movie part of the way through. And he's so against this. He's like, no.
So what do you think? Okay, as a woman, what is her goal here? Like, I want to hear it from you because I don't want to put words into. I like to hear it from a woman's perspective.
I think after they were talking about the positive aspects of sex and the being young and having fun and stuff like that, I think she is very curious about experiencing things, and here she has the opportunity to experience this, and she's taking advantage of that in a good way, in a positive way.
Makes sense.
She's excited to be able to, or she's curious to be able to do something like this, because when is she ever going to be able to do this again? It's
fucking true. And like Jackson said, he's an actor. He's not fucking, we're not getting romantic here. We're just, we're doing a scene.
Right. For me, I'd have to say, me at 22 probably wouldn't have done it. Me now, and at 22, I was way more promiscuous. Like, I had sex with everybody back then.
See, what's hilarious is like we lived completely opposite lives. I was more prudish.
Right.
When I was around that age.
Right. And I had a lot of sex partners back then when I was single.
I was RJ back in the day.
Yes.
It's okay for me to film this, but not okay for you to participate.
Right. And me nowadays, like, if you put that in front of me, I would probably say, yeah.
Well, I think I mean, it is. He's not trying to steal RJ's girlfriend.
Right.
That's not what they're doing.
Right.
Like, you asked me the question. You were like, would you be okay with it? I was like, if I was shooting a porn and you were doing sound and we all knew these people and we knew it was business and shit like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck's the harm?
Right.
Like, at that point, I know I've changed so much over the years. So I'm totally okay with it.
5 years ago, Lee? No.
No, definitely not. I was more RJ then.
Right.
Crying in the shower later.
Yes.
Which Owen Campbell plays RJ, and he does a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in a lot of other indie films and stuff.
Right. So he says that he's making more than just a porn, because he wants this to be a big feature or whatever.
He's just trying to talk her out of it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, Wayne takes RJ outside and tells him that she's going to do whatever she wants to.
And it's fucking true.
Yes.
It's so funny because Wayne should be this slime ball, but he's making these really good fucking points.
Yeah, she's going to do whatever she wants.
He was like, if she's serious about it, she's going to do it whether you like it or not.
Right.
And then he's like, hey, maybe she gets famous and she takes you with her.
Right.
It's like, oh, I mean.
Because it doesn't change her love for him.
No, because aside from those weird after porn documentaries where they talk to porn stars who had really bad times, which it's happened, right. There was a lot of, I don't know if it still goes on. I don't know the porn industry, but there's a lot of weird kind of slimy shit that goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt about it. But no, aside from that, like I've seen interviews with porn stars who are married and their husbands are totally cool. Like, because
I'm sure there's
and
lots
they interviewed
of it,
this one husband and he was like, I don't have to work. He was like, I don't have to work and I have a hot wife and everybody knows she's hot.
It's a fucking job.
Yeah. And they were interviewing her and she was talking about, she was like, sex with my husband and sex for my work are two completely separate things. Yes.
I saw on Twitter, there's a famous kind of ish person that I follow. She's mostly famous for, they are mostly famous for, OnlyFans or whatever, but TikTok too, right? So I follow her on TikTok, but I follow her on Twitter, and she, I'm sorry, I keep saying she.
That's all right.
They posted, I really miss sex. And I was like, I'm not even going into that comment section because I know there's going to be somebody there that's going to say, well, you just did an OnlyFans with these people the other day.
It's a societal thing. It's a societal thing that we can't shake for some reason, where it's like, people are perfectly fine with women. It's mostly women. It's mostly directed at women because you don't see very many people going after these male porn stars. Right. But like, it's mostly women because for some reason, we're totally cool with women putting out. Women should be having sex with all of us dudes. Like, no matter what, you should be having sex with us, whether you like it or not. That's how societal sees it. But then as soon as you start charging or making money off of that sex that everybody thinks you should be doing for free, then there's a problem. And it's really weird. You know, it's like we cannot be sex positive as a society here in America.
Oh,
it's
absolutely
really creepy to me.
It's insane.
It's something I had to shake, you know, like, you know, you grow up in the South, like, ew, you know, sex should be between married people.
Right.
In the bedroom to make a child.
Not me.
Because
God, no.
Because again, fucking might as well while you're young. Have a good time. Just be safe.
Right. Oh, not me. Just, you want to touch it? Okay, please just touch it. Please do. Anyway, we are way off topic.
Oh, yeah.
So RJ tells Wayne that she isn't like the others because she's a nice girl.
Oh,
dude, you fucked up.
I
am so Wayne's surprised that Wayne didn't fucking punch him.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Because that's fucked up. You just called all these other people, including Wayne's fiance, fucking gross people. Like, that's basically what RJ's saying. And, you know, it's very hypocritical. And I think that's what Lorraine's point is. He's being a hypocrite.
Right. But when they go back inside, Lorraine's already in her underwear about to fuck Jackson. Like, they're ready. And he just takes the camera and films her. Yeah, sad. Sad that he can't see past
Disconnect that. You know, I understand if that's your thing, but maybe he should have had a truthful talk with Lorraine.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It was like, I think Lorraine should have sat down and had a conversation with him.
Yeah, that's a problem. You really need to, like, you probably shouldn't just go right into something like that.
Like, if we were doing something like that and you were filming a porn, we would have this conversation beforehand and be like, so if I want to be in this movie, can I be in this movie? Like,
yeah.
Not can I be, because you're not going to tell me what to do. Yeah,
but also don't be hypocritical. I mean.
Right. So later on, after the filming, RJ's in the shower sobbing.
I'm sorry. It shouldn't be funny to me, but it's
he is sobbing like she just fucking stabbed him or something. Anyway, that was funny. Anyway, so he decides he's going to leave.
Yeah.
So he takes the van and he pulls up to the gate and Pearl's just standing outside. So he gets out to make sure that she's okay because he's like, this old lady, like, what the fuck's wrong with her?
Ooh.
Well, she hugs him and then she starts to try to kiss him and he rejects her. He's like, why are you doing that? And this pisses her off. So she just stabs him.
Man, the calm manner in which she just fucking shoves that thing into his throat. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, all while Don't Fear the Reaper is playing, which is a lovely touch.
I did like the music in this movie. Yeah. So she just stabs him in the neck. And then he falls down and she gets on top of him and she just keeps fucking stabbing him.
She collapses his neck.
Yeah, she like decapitates him just by stabbing him so many times.
Cool practical way that they did this was they had him underneath a false floor and stuff. And they had a stuntman sticking out and fake neck and shit like that, fake torso.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just stabbing that with tubes running through the fake neck to spray
There's
blood.
fucking blood everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love good blood splatter.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's great is this comes out of nowhere because we haven't seen anybody die yet.
Right.
We haven't seen blood at all.
No.
Yet. And when this fucking happens, I mean, we saw cum earlier.
Oh, yeah, when she's wiping it off of her.
Very realistic looking cum. Good job.
Oh, yeah. They make that. They make fake cum.
Yeah, I've seen it. I was wondering what the fuck it, like, yeah, you can buy a bottle of fake semen. It's fucking wild. Yeah. What a time to be making movies.
Right? But there's blood squirting everywhere. Oh, yeah. It is amazing. And then she gets up and she starts to dance.
Which is really creepy.
It's making her feel young again.
Oh, yeah. Now, what's great about someone like Ty West doing a slasher here, which this is his first slasher, he hadn't done one yet, is that he completely throws out all the usual formula like we talked about.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this dude didn't have any sex and he's the first one dead.
This is doing the complete opposite because like you said, with our victims here, the people not having sex die first. Yeah. The people not seen having sex die first. And the person having the most sex lives, which is a wild little turnout.
Right.
You know, but it's more of that awesome outside the box thinking that keeps this from being just a Texas Chainsaw ripoff. or something like that.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because again, I keep saying Texas Chainsaw because that was what people compared this to the most.
That's because it's in Texas. It's filmed in Texas. Or I mean,
it was actually shot in New Zealand.
That's not what I meant. It takes place in Texas.
New Zealand is like a mecca for making movies because I don't know what it is, but like every movie I've seen where they shot it in New Zealand, it's like, wow, that looks not like New Zealand.
Yeah.
Good job.
Looks like Texas.
Yeah. Awesome job. Also, he knows how to homage stuff without making blatant ripoffs. You know?
Right.
You feel it. Like this sequence with the shower and the blood, it kind of makes you feel like Psycho or Halloween or Evil Dead. It's very cool how he does that. Now these dance moves that she's doing, you see her doing dance moves?
Yeah.
They look oddly similar. I wonder if there's the same dance moves that she does in Suspiria, the Suspiria remake.
I get so many Suspiria vibes from this movie.
Oh, there's a lot there. And the thing is, I've heard people be like, I ain't watching that Suspiria remake. I'll tell you, they did that remake right because it's a completely different movie.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still Suspiria in its heart and stuff like that. But it's a very good movie. So watch it for just to watch a good movie. You know, see it. Don't brush it off because it's a remake.
Right. Because to me, Lorraine in this movie looks just like what's her name from Suspiria.
Oh, you pointed that out to me.
Maybe not just like her, but like a modern. Her.
Yeah, it was kind of wild because Brittany even put this on Twitter. But you put Jenna Ortega and Jessica Harper next to each other, and she really does look like her a bit.
Yeah,
I never noticed that.
I was getting Suspiria vibes the whole time. Anyway, so Lorraine wakes up and looking for RJ. Wayne ends up finding her and says that RJ just needs to toughen up, and he will be fine in the morning. But she begs Wayne to help her find him. So they split up and she runs into Howard outside of his house and he's looking for Pearl.
Yeah.
So Wayne ends up going to the barn and ends up stepping on a nail. And then he's still looking for RJ or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he thinks he sees something through this hole in the wall because there's like it's wooden.
Yeah.
It's old. Anyway. And so he goes to peep through it and he gets stabbed in the eye.
Oh, fuck.
I fucking
eye damage.
love that.
And you didn't see it coming either.
No.
Like, I didn't think that was really going to happen, but oh, fuck.
No, you do not.
Eye trauma. And you get to see the whole thing, too. It's great.
Oh, yeah. So Lorraine and Howard go get flashlights and he asks her to go down to the basement to get one. Then we see where Pearl like pulls out the thing.
Oh yeah, it cuts back.
Yeah, it cuts back to Wayne. You see the eyeball fly out and everything. Oh, it's so fucking cool.
Oh man, it's so good because you think you're done with that scene and then he cuts back. Which, like I said, like this movie is cut like it's from the 70s. Like there's a lot of cool visual cuts. Like there's a part where later you see Mia Goth running. And it's cutting to her escaping from this one part and to her running outside. It's just very cool artistic move.
Yes. So Lorraine goes down to this basement and to find the flashlight, but of course she gets locked down there because Howard locks her in there.
Yeah.
And when she turns on the light, she finds some dude just fucking hanging there naked.
Just some guy. And you're like, what the fuck has been going on here?
Yes.
Because that's the crazy part. Is you are kind of feeling sad for these people before the killings start. And then when the killings start, you're like, oh, wait, you did what the fuck?
They've been doing this.
What did you do? What did you do?
Yes. So then Jackson wakes up because he hears something outside. He goes to check it out and it's Howard looking for Pearl. Mm-hmm. He says that he'll help Howard look for her, and he's completely naked.
Yeah,
his big old dick's just swinging in the wind.
I don't know if this is real because what's really unfair. What's really unfair for women in being nude in a movie and guys being nude in a movie is that guys half the time use a prosthetic penis.
Oh yeah,
like in Euphoria, the penises you see in there are apparently fake.
Oh,
they're all fake. Those are all fake penises. And it's just, I'm like, women don't get to do that.
No.
That seems like a weird double standards, except for the merkin. There are merkins, for women if they don't want to appear nude. But like, it seems kind of unfair.
Right.
So you guys don't gotta have fake fucking boobies.
Right.
Like,
you just got to show it or don't.
More dong and horror. And I really think if I could point out a negative of this movie, there's not as much dong as I would have liked.
Oh my God.
There really isn't. You got to put some more dong in those movies.
There's more than any other fucking movie.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there could have been more dong.
I understand that, but there's more than there has been.
Hashtag more dong and horror.
Anyway.
That's a hashtag I started.
Anyway.
Okay.
So Jackson gets dressed and they go down to the pond. And now we see Pearl. She's in the room with Maxine and she gets naked and lays next to her because Maxine's asleep. Then she starts to rub all over Maxine and ew.
Oh man,
Ew.
what a thing to wake up to.
Yeah. Maxine rolls over and sees that it's Pearl and she screams. And this wakes Bobby up and Pearl goes running past her, which scares her because it's kind of like a jump scare.
Yeah.
You got Maxine screaming. Bobby's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Pearl's running around naked, touching people.
It's really cool with this movie too, is that like he doesn't like rely on a lot of jump scares.
Right. They just kind of naturally happen.
There's not a lot of like cats jumping out of things or anything like that.
Right.
So for Mia Goth to transform into Pearl, Weta Studios, who they're big in New Zealand and stuff. In fact, like he had the crew from who had just finished working on Avatar 2 to help him on this movie.
Another app. Anyway,
There's
we're not going
there's
into
supposed
that.
to be like 4 of those movies. I don't understand it. But anyway, I don't understand the hype around Avatar. There's an Avatar world in Disney.
We're not getting into that movie.
Yeah.
That's a whole other podcast.
Anyway, but to pull off the effect of her being in the same scene, they would shoot one side of the scene with Maxine's character, and then they would shoot another with Pearl. This would sometimes take like 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
To complete. And the makeup process, she would have to sit in those makeup chairs for like 10 hours to get these prosthetics applied and stuff like that. She was like, it was kind of exciting because I'd never done anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Goth said in order to pull this off, she had to act inwardly instead of having someone to work off of. So like when you see her doing these scenes together with Maxine, those two characters aren't talking to each other in real life.
Right.
She's talking to herself basically. So she's having to, and she pulls it the fuck off.
Oh yeah.
Because
it's awesome.
I watched this movie, right? Had no idea Mia Goth was playing 2 roles. Cause again, I don't know if I've explained this, but I watch one trailer to a movie, then I don't read anything about it. I want to experience the movie fresh. So when I watched that, didn't know until the credits rolled. And I was like, holy fucking shit.
Right.
It's not noticeable at all.
No, it's not. Like I said before, I didn't know until you told me.
Yeah.
Jackson's searching around the pond and he sees an old car kind of hidden in the wooded area. He's kind of questioning it a little bit, but whatever. They live on a farm. Maybe it's their old car. Whatever.
Jackson's too nice of a guy. Like, he really
yes.
For what happens to him, he's too nice.
Right. Then he sees Howard's flashlight just laying there and he thinks that Howard's in the pond, I assume, or maybe it's Pearl, whatever. He's looking for them in the pond. But Howard's not in the water. Howard comes up behind him and he's pissed now and says that Jackson is enticing his wife to have sex with him. Yeah. And he just fucking shoots him.
Yeah.
Just right in the chest.
Jackson's like, okay.
Right. He's like, no. So Lorraine is trying to figure out how to get out of this basement and she finds an axe. She axes the door and reaches out to unlock it. But here's Howard.
Oh,
and
man.
he smashes her hand with this gun and says that she's just making it worse for herself.
Dude.
He fucking breaks her finger.
Fuck. I don't know what it is about those small things because I could watch somebody get disemboweled all day. But like for some reason, just the small trauma, breaking fingers why it is? And busting eyes.
That's the thing is you could really do that.
Maybe that's what it is.
I think it is.
I think one of everyone's biggest fears is like a fucking sharp thing going into your eye.
Oh, yeah.
Slow. And so like that's such a visceral move. But you could watch someone get stabbed to death in the neck. Like I would say this hand trauma and fucking eye trauma of Wayne is even worse than fucking what RJ gets earlier.
Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting how that works on your mind. You know?
Oh, yeah. So Maxine is snorting her line and Bobby is looking for the guys. She walks down to the barn and finds Pearl standing there naked and she tries to help her. But Pearl ends up slapping her and calls her a whore. And then pushes Bobby into the water and she gets eaten by the alligator.
Dude, this fucking alligator chomps her fucking head and takes her under. You know, I knew it was coming. I was like, someone's going to get eaten by this alligator.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I didn't see it coming right here. Like,
right?
It just whop.
Crazy. So Maxine washes up because when Pearl was touching her, she had blood all over or whatever. So she's got blood all over her. And then she goes looking for everyone. And she sees Howard and Pearl walking up to the cabin, so she hides because she's like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? So Howard and Pearl are talking about the ones that they killed. They're like 4, no 5, whatever.
It's kind of freaky because they're like talking like they've done this for a while.
Right.
And I haven't seen that prequel, so I don't know what that's going to bring. But like you can you tell her, they've been doing
this. Yeah. And Pearl says that Maxine is special and that she's tired of not getting what she wants. Basically saying she's jealous of Maxine. Mm-hmm. And she wants Howard to still want her and to make her feel young again. And he tells her like he loves her or whatever. And
again, you have this like moment where the movie kind of pauses and you have this like touching little scene.
Yes, they're in love and all of this stuff. And he even mentions his heart. He's like, but my heart. And she was like, basically like, I don't give a fuck. Just have sex with me. I mean, in a nicer way. Yeah. So they start to make out and make love.
Ugh.
And
that touching scene kind of ends because
oh yeah,
just seeing it.
Oh,
and what is it? You know, we talked about old porn earlier in the episode.
Yeah,
and I don't know, man. I'm just not these two. You know,
not these two.
This is not a tantalizing moment.
No. And then we see that Maxine is stuck under the bed while they're doing this.
Oh man!
By the way, you'd think, in my mind, an old couple having sex or whatever, quiet sex to me.
Oh no, they're getting into it.
Oh no, they are
fucking.
They is fucking.
This isn't love making or.
No,
we're fucking right now.
Yeah.
You were like, they look like skeletons.
Yes. So,
which is again, that's kind of funny when you talk about it like that because it's like, is it gross? Like, are there people? You know, it's gross to us, but
right.
That's maybe because we're young.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Weird.
When I'm 110, will you still have sex with me?
Oh fuck yeah.
Okay.
That's how I told you. That's how I'm going to kill myself. That's how I'm going out.
Heart attack.
Yeah, heart attack by fucking.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
Sounds good to me.
It's gonna be great.
So Maxine crawls out from under the bed and runs to the van. She sees RJ there dead with no head. So maybe she doesn't know it's RJ. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, his head's there. It's just kind of off to the side. Yeah. His neck's gone.
Yeah. So she grabs the gun from the compartment and she hears yelling. So she goes to look for Lorraine, or look for the yelling or whatever, and it's Lorraine, and she lets her out of the basement. And Lorraine says that she hates Maxine, and she runs out the door. Like, Maxine, like, trying to, like, no, we need to work together because they're fucking killing everybody. And Lorraine's like, no, fuck, I'm out. Fuck you. You made me do this. Like, fuck you. And as soon as she goes out the fucking door, she gets fucking blown away.
You don't see it coming. I almost woke you up one night when I was first watching this because I watched this late at night because everybody was like, "Oh, there's so much sex and stuff." So I didn't.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
So I was like, "I'm gonna wait till everybody's asleep and then watch it."
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this, and when it happens, I was like, "Holy fuck!" Like, I was like, "Oh shit!" I yelled that.
Yes.
But that's how
You
fucking
do
quick
not
it is.
expect it.
And what's great about this movie, we haven't really touched on it, but the gore in this movie, not CGI, which is so nice to see real blood. Well, not real blood, but like to see blood, like a liquid with light hitting it. It's lovely.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Because like, and I don't know, they may have like cleaned some stuff up with CGI, like the Wayne eyeball stabbing. That looks really good though. I don't know if that's fake, but
who knows?
Good shit though. Like all this gore looks great. Yeah.
So Maxine hides while they drag Lorraine's body inside, and Lorraine makes a noise. This cracks me up, and this scares Howard to death. Like literally, he has a heart attack and dies.
He fucking just croaks right here.
I mean, at least he went out after he came, right?
That's true, man. At least he got to do it one more time before he left this mortal coil. He got to
fuck one more time, and he got to kill someone one more time before he died. What a great night for him.
This has been a good night out. Like we're going.
Oh my goodness. So Maxine goes up to Pearl with the gun, and she wants to know where the keys are to the van. Pearl tells her they're in the kitchen or whatever. So she goes and grabs them. And Pearl tells her that she's just a whore and that she is just like her when she was younger. And Maxine says that she's a star and she won't accept a life that she doesn't deserve. So Maxine goes to shoot the gun, but it isn't loaded. They talk about this in the beginning when Howard pulls the gun on Wayne, how their guns aren't loaded because they're just for show.
Yeah.
And but Pearl picks up her gun and she shoots it. It's got bullets in it. And it's not a good shot, but it just blows her back into the yard.
I laughed so hard at this because you see this old lady get blown out the fucking door.
Yes. So she gets blown back and hits the ground pretty hard, which breaks her hip.
Yeah.
So Maxine gets in the van. She just walks over, lets her just, she's just like crawling, and she's like, I broke my hip. Maxine's like, whatever.
Fuck ever.
Yeah. She gets in the van, and Pearl keeps yelling at her, calling her whore and all of this stuff. And so Maxine just runs her fucking over.
Oh,
smashes her fucking head.
What a lovely melon crush here.
I know, you love the melon crush.
I love a good head crush.
Oh, yeah.
I think this movie has everything. I really do. Gore-wise, this has got it all.
Oh, yeah.
This has got everything you want. It's got some good, like, fucking gunshot to the face out of nowhere.
Yeah.
By a shotgun. You get some fucking alligator head chomping. Somebody gets eaten by a fucking alligator. Somebody gets their head crushed. Somebody gets shit through the eye. Somebody steps on a nail.
Someone gets decapitated.
Somebody gets decapitated. It's amazing. It's everything. It's everything you want.
Yes, yes. So she runs her over, and then she just drives off into the dawn because the sun's coming up. And then we see on the TV that Maxine was actually a runaway from the church or whatever it was.
Very interesting little twist there. Like, he didn't have to do that.
Right.
Like, he didn't add that, but it's like, whoa.
So she ran away from her evangelical life, and now she's a porn star. That killed an old lady.
It's very interesting. I like that little twist they had at the end because, like I said, there is a prequel, but also there's going to be a third movie.
Nice.
He's also writing a sequel to this.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so this is going to be a trilogy. And it's very interesting how that works out because this movie, of course, you got to watch this first.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people are really like, well, why didn't they just release because I'll talk about it in a minute, but he shot these back to back, Pearl and X. So I know I saw a few people who were like, well, why didn't you release Pearl first and then release X?
No.
That wouldn't have worked.
No.
You got to have X as the first movie you watch because it lays all these little things that you want to know more of.
Right.
And that creates a movie with zero plot holes. There's no plot holes in this movie because of that. Because there are little things where you're like, well, that's a fucking plot hole. What the fuck does that mean? And it's like, no, it's not, because you're going to learn it.
Right. So back with the cops from the beginning of the movie.
I love how this bookends the movie, too.
Yeah. And they're trying to figure out what happened. So they're like, what happened here? I love
the sheriff's like, how the fuck should I know?
Right. So they find the camera and they say, by the looks of things, it probably
a fucked up horror picture show.
Yep.
And then the movie, I love that.
Yeah.
You got Robert Palmer. Like, whoa. Oh, man. And the music in this is really good because it's time appropriate. I mean, you got some, it's good shit. So if you got to see this in the theater, you were treated to a teaser at the end of the film that sets up a prequel titled Pearl, which, by the way, this little teaser, not on the Blu-ray and not on the digital.
Rude.
VOD. It's not on there. It's kind of weird. So I never got to see it. But it sets up Pearl, which should be out September 16th. So really soon.
Yes.
I actually want to go see it in theaters. Oh. This may get me out of the house.
We might have to do like a matinee.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I like to sleep during movies.
Yeah, because I'll tell you guys, the midnight showings and Friday night showings, those are a young man's game. I can't do that shit no more.
You probably can. I could never.
I can't do a Friday night showing because I went to see Batman and it was on its like third week. I went to see Batman on a Friday night and I just wanted to strangle all the kids in that fucking theater.
Yes.
It's terrible. I was like, dear God, I'm too old for this shit. Matinees it is for the rest of my life.
Yes.
But yeah, we got to go see this. But yeah, Mia Goth is reprising the role of Pearl. She's playing a younger Pearl, which would be really interesting to see because I want to see, I don't know. Mia Goth is so fucking good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's had a fucking like string of really good movies, I feel like. I'm excited to see whatever she does. Now, this wasn't necessarily planned, a prequel, but after filming wrapped on X, Ty West realized he could expand Pearl's story. There was a lot there.
Yeah.
Plus, he had the crew and a great location, which was secluded in the pandemic. So he figured, why not make another? Why don't we just make this other movie?
Let's just do it.
Yeah. So with Mia signed on, he shot Pearl. Now, Pearl is a completely different movie and looks like a Technicolor movie, kind of like The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
I love that he's going with that direction.
Yes.
That's awesome because I'll tell you about Ty West. I know a lot of people have said, he does all this retro stuff and makes his movies kind of feel like older movies and stuff like that, which he does, but none of his movies look the same. There's a different style for each movie. And I don't know. I just eat that shit up. Keep doing this. But yeah, it's got this Technicolor look and it just looks fascinating. Also, Ty West announced in March that he is working on a third script for a direct sequel to X. So we got a trilogy. Interesting. Because I want more of this. That's what's crazy.
Yes, I agree. I do too.
Now, X had its premiere at the 2022 South by Southwest Festival on March 13th.
Wow. Very soon.
Yeah, not long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very fresh
Recent.
movie.
That's the word I was looking for.
I had to. I couldn't wait any longer to talk about this movie.
I know. You were like, we're going to do X.
I was like, I got to talk about it. And we haven't done a Ty West movie. And I was like, why not? Because I want to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
And so we kind of brushed off our little, I kind of put a limit because of spoilers. I put a time frame. I like to give movies at least a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
So I know everybody who wants to see it saw it. So, so this is a little sooner. So I apologize if you guys had to skip this episode to go watch X.
How would they know?
I don't apologize, actually. It's a good thing you watched X in preparation for this episode.
Right.
It's a good movie. But it would go on to make, it had its wide release everywhere at theaters March 18th. It would go on to make a total of 14.3 million worldwide as of June. I don't know how much where it sits now. I always say this stuff about box office things and budgets and shit like that. I want to tell you guys that's always an estimate.
Right.
You never know the true amount of money or anything this makes because this movie, it said that it cost $12 million. So you think 14.3 million, that's not a lot, but that's also not factoring in the VOD release or the Blu-rays and stuff like that. So it could go on to make more monies. Plus, is the budget 12 million because there was another movie? You see what I mean? So there's a whole other movie he has coming out. So you never know about these budget things. So take those with a grain of salt, people. Now, I just wish, these websites would fucking say that.
Oh, right.
You never know. because there's all sorts of little tricks to inflate the budget and deflate the budget that studios use. So you never truly know the complete budget of a film. But anyway, X has had a lot of rave reviews. Like I said, it's hard to find a real negative review about this unless it's someone who just, movies like this don't vibe with them, which is totally understandable. It's a total modern classic. I think this is going to be one of those movies people are talking about in like 15 years. It's like, holy shit, that's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be X posters in people's fucking rooms and shit. It's a modern classic, but it has that touch people like Ty West have. I've seen so many people attempt to do what he does, but it always feels, like I said, gimmicky. It always feels like a gimmick. It's like, oh, you're trying to get me to feel like this is from the 80s with all these neon lights and shit like that. And it just comes across as an approximation of what the 80s was or what the 70s was. It doesn't feel genuine like this does. Because like the whole movie you're seeing this, I mean, yeah, the music is 70s centered and stuff like that, but they're not like talking about shit that's on TV during the 70s. And they're not like sitting there discussing the politics. There's none of that bullshit that people throw in to be like, oh, see guys, this is in the 70s. It's like, okay, you can calm down. You just tell me it's in the 70s and I see the cars and the outfits. I'm good. Right. And he kind of does that. He doesn't fuck around with you. And usually you forget that completely after you watch it, because of how well it's done. It's the themes and the restructuring of what a slasher is. X succeeds at that. Like it stands on its own. It's not just, it's an homage to 70s slashers. It's not just that. It's also a good movie. And seriously, X isn't a remake or a requel or whatever you call it. And it's not the 12th Halloween movie or the 9th or 10th fucking Chainsaw Massacre. And so like, I get bored with these slashers these days, Even though I do love them, I'm not extremely big on them. I wasn't even that big on Scream 5, which they titled Scream again. You had the V right there. But anyway, I loved that movie, but I'm not huge on it, mostly because nostalgia doesn't give me a boner like everyone else. I don't. I'm lost here without a paddle because nostalgia's not helping me at all. So I'm lost in some of these movies that are coming out.
I want new movies.
That's what I want. I want this. Yeah. I do like those older movies and I do like people recreating that kind of feel, but I want an original story. Not fucking a rehash. Right. I don't want. Right. Oh, but yeah, so to finally watch something original, but also in the vein of an older 70s movie, I fucking ate this shit up. And as always, I can't wait to see what Ty West comes out with next, because you always know you're going to have a good time with his movies, man. I can't wait for you to see other movies that he's done. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. But enough about me. How did you feel about 2022's X?
I loved it, because I love a good slasher
movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if I've ever met really a slasher movie that I didn't like. Well, maybe that Mad Max movie, but
Mad Max. No, Madman Mars.
Madman Mars.
Yeah, Madman. I was like, damn, you don't like Madman? I was like, you haven't even seen Mad Max. What are you talking about?
Madman Mars. That one. Anyway. But see, I didn't even know the title of it. But this one I loved. I love the restructure of the who gets killed first.
Yeah, because I love me a good slasher as well. I slashers is what I grew up on because my parents were huge slasher fans. But I do get bored. I get bored with slashers. I can't sit down and watch all slashers all day. Right. I got to mix them in and stuff like that because that
I do agree with that.
Because that shit gets boring. And so when a movie like this comes along and is like, hey, it's a slasher, but I've updated a few things. I've done it more crafty for you. Right. So it doesn't feel like just Friday the 13th, but with a different killer.
Right. And I love this. I love all the killings. They're all different. Like every killing is different. Nobody dies in the same way.
There's no fucking off-screen killings looking at you, they, them.
Right. It is all right there in your face. And I love that. It's visceral. I love it's romantic. It's sexual. Everything.
There is a story that you like here. That's the thing about this movie. There's a fucking story in this. Because like I said, a lot of people who are homaging stuff in the 70s and 80s that are slashers and are exploitation and stuff like that, they get caught up in that old school formula where you don't give a fuck about the story. Like, I love those Friday the 13th movies, but tell me one of them. Tell me the story from one of those movies, Like, it's just people go to camp and Jason kills them.
Right.
But that's not what you get here. You get a story you like. It's a good story.
And I don't know. I loved it. This will be one that I watch over and over again.
And that's another thing. It's hard to find movies that are newer and stuff, and especially that do this, that do have that rewatchability.
Right.
I don't think we've had a slasher movie come out that's like that. I mean, Halloween kills for me for different reasons, but like, there's not been a lot of movies that come out that are doing the slasher thing, that something you can really rewatch. Scream 5, I rewatch. I keep calling it Scream 5. It's because the title's technically Scream, and that's going to confuse everybody.
Right.
But Scream 5, I watched that again, and I was like, it's good,
but
it just doesn't have that rewatchability like this movie does.
Right. So, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah.
Totally. I'm glad we came off of Ghostbusters with a movie that you loved. You shocked people with Ghostbusters.
I'm sorry.
If you haven't listened to our Ghostbusters episode, go back and listen to that, because Brittany was not a big fan.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Like I told you, you're not going to piss anybody off, and if you do, fuck them.
Right. Because it's my opinion.
Fuck, everybody's got opinions. It's not a big deal. But anyway, yeah, that's X from 2022. Man, I have a good fucking time with this.
Oh, yeah.
How are we going to top this one, though?
Oh. I don't want to watch any more movies for the rest of my life.
This is good. This is ending the show. No. We're not going to do Slasher next, but we're going to do a Ty West double feature. Because I'm not ready to stop talking about Ty West.
Nice.
So since Brittany hasn't seen another Ty West movie, we're gonna go back in time. We're gonna do The House of the Devil. House of the Devil. Ty West's little throwback to 70s and 80s horror as well. A little bit of cult horror, a little bit of satanic panic in there. It's good shit.
Nice.
We're gonna have a good time with that. So yes, we're doing a Ty West double feature. So be sure to tune in next week. Man, thank you guys for listening. Dude, this is a fucking blast.
Oh, yeah.
This was a fucking good time talking about this movie.
And we were so excited to do this.
We were. I was like, after you watched it, you were like, I can't wait to talk about this fucking movie. It's going to be so good. I had a good time. So until next week, when we venture into the House of the Devil, I'm Leigh Evans saying stay spooky.
And I'm Brittany. Stay horrific.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. To get a hold of us and submit your stories, fan mail, and death threats, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and nightofthehorrorfile.com. Our theme song was written and performed by John Brennan, used with permission. Find John at shopjb.bandcamp.com and at badtechno.com. If you like what you hear, leave a good review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show on your social media. See you next week.